Hi there, it's Kute here, sending you love wherever you are around the world. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Yet sometimes, some days seem not to flow. You know, we all have those days. You wake up out of bed on the wrong side. You get that phone call. Your lover leaves you. You trip over. You spill the coffee all over your desk. And just things don't seem to be in sync. You know, we often call those days bad days. I like to say there's no such thing really as a bad day. Many times if you are trying to make every single day of your life only a good day, only a good day, only a good day, and make everything all bliss and light all the time, you may experience suffering. See, the nature of life is to embrace the totality of life. If you're able to embrace all of life, knowing that life ebbs and flows, life is expansion and contraction, the less you resist the expansion and contraction and don't attach to it being a certain way, you actually drop to a deeper level of your own self. Ultimately, good and bad is just polarity. In the 3D, there's no such thing as perfection. Life is not necessarily perfect. It's constantly changing, impermanent, up and down. Have you noticed? One moment it's like this, next moment it's like this. It's not necessarily like this. So our role is not necessarily to hope for life to get easier. Our role is to expand our potential, expand our capacity, expand our internal, mental, emotional, spiritual resources so that no matter what life throws at you, you are that much more able to deal with life. So don't pray for life to get easier. Pray to expand your capacity to deal with the challenges of life, because if you don't, you may experience many bad days. You see, life is challenging. Life is sometimes painful. Doesn't have to be suffering. In fact, life doesn't necessarily knock on the door, give you a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to schedule this intense challenge. I'm going to schedule a very intense situation in your life about 3 years from now so you can prepare for it. Life just, boom, just drops it on you, shows up. I like to say, if you're going through a challenge in your life, if you're going through a bad day in your life, if you're going through a challenging experience right now, you can view it as bad from one perspective, but good and bad is really only a perspective. And many times we only see a small part of the painting, a small part of the totality of the full experience in the moment, and we often label that as bad in the moment, but it's a limited perception. Many of the things that you might label as bad right now, that you might be currently going through right now, 2 years from now, a year from now, whether it's a breakup, whether it's an illness, whether it's a challenge, we often label it as bad. Oh my God, I'm so sick. Yes, it's intense, it's challenging, but perhaps a year from now, 2 years from now, you'll look back and go, that was the greatest thing that occurred in my life. It was potentially. Look at how what you're going through can potentially and actually be a catalyst. A profound growth catalyst to your evolution, the evolution of yourself, the evolution of your own being, facilitating a deeper realization of who you really are. I like to say that every single person, place, experience in your life is conspiring and serving your growth and evolution. Every single situation, person, place, and thing is your teacher, assisting you to see yourself, assisting you to wake up. It might be challenging. You know, to boil an egg, it needs some heat. It needs some fire. So even some of the most, I have many friends that at certain points in their lives that have been sick, and they often in the moment see it as bad. But ask yourself, what is the challenge that you're going through? What is the illness that you're going through? What is the financial crisis that you're going through? What is the breakup that you're going through that in the moment might seem bad? What is it seeking to teach you? What are the lessons that you are seeking to experience as a result of this? Why have you brought this into your life? So rather than viewing it as bad or good, move beyond bad or good and view it from a perspective of the soul. What is my soul seeking to learn and experience from this situation right now? And you will transcend duality, good or bad, to a whole different dimension, seeing through different eyes. Then you can take life as a school. Then you can take life as a gymnasium where you get to work out your muscles, your mental and emotional muscles, and expand, and rather than collapsing into, let's say, feeling sorry for yourself, curling up in the bed, being a victim, saying, oh my God, why is this happening to me? You can step into the situation that you might be going through. You can step into the day and say, yes, I'm ready for this opportunity. I'm ready for the opportunity that this day is giving me to expand, to realize, to step more into my true greatness. So look at the opportunity of the so-called bad day, and you will flip it upside, inside out. Rather than collapsing, you can dance. You know, you can dance with your day and it will transform and open. What's important is not simply what you're going through. What's important is not simply whether the day is good or bad. What's important is how you meet it, your relationship with yourself as you go through that experience or that moment. Many times when we're faced with a bad day, it can be easy to wallow in victimhood. It can be easy to wallow in powerlessness. I say, just because you made your bed, just because you're going through something right now, or you made your bed, doesn't mean you have to keep lying in it. At any moment of your life, you can shift. At any moment of your life, you can transform. At any moment of your life, you can make a new choice now. So if you're going through a so-called challenging moment, a bad day in your life, I'd like to say this, that if it's a challenging situation, there must be a part of you, a part of your soul that is ready to grow, to face that situation and grow beyond that. Perhaps there's a lesson you need to learn, and ultimately, if you're going through a succession, a repetitive succession of bad, so-called bad days, perhaps there's something that you're not learning that you need to learn, and because you haven't learned it, you keep repeating that situation over and over and over and over and over again. All lessons ultimately are repeated until learned. So look at the situation and look at what is it that your soul is seeking to learn. If you do the same thing over and over and over again, you know the quote, you get the same result. So what do you need to do differently so that you can experience something different as a result of the situation? One of the things I've realized that often happens when we're going through a bad day is that in the moment of going through a bad day, all of your attention tends to be fixated on yourself. Oh my God, what me, what my problems, my issues, my stuff, my challenge. Woe is me. And I've seen that those that often are stuck in a cycle of constantly going through bad days are so fixated on themselves, on their small little worlds, that they end up living in a prison. One of the things that you can do to break out of a bad day is give up simply focusing on yourself. Yes, acknowledge the feeling, acknowledge the emotion, but do not wallow in it, and expand your attention and ask yourself this: how can I be of service? How can I be of service? I remember when I was walking the Camino de Santiago, 900-kilometer trek in northern Spain. I met a man on this trek, a beautiful man. I walked with him for one day. He had the hugest backpack that he would carry. And the whole premise of the journey was giving up your attachments, giving up material things. And I was thinking to myself, why does he have the huge backpack on his back? I didn't understand it. As we walked the whole day and he told me stories and jokes, finally at the end of the day, I asked him, how comes you have this huge backpack on your back? And he said to me, Kute, I don't just walk for myself. I have walked the Camino many times. Now this time I walk for everyone else, and I'm happy. To me, this is the key to happiness. He was simply walking, being of service, and as we walked, he would take stuff out of his backpack, gifts, book, things, and he would just give it to people. And he said, everything I have in my backpack, my goal is by the end of this 900-kilometer walk is to have my backpack be empty. And this was one of the most blissful men I'd ever been. So if you are going through a bad day, my invitation to you, amazing friends, is give up focusing on your own stuff. Give up focusing on your own self. Give up focusing on your wallowing on your own badness, and ask yourself, how can I be of service? Your heart will open, your soul will open, your mind will open, and you will move yourself into the zone of miracles. Love now.